Testing. Oh, right. Okay. Testing. Audio working? Audio is functioning. Fantastic. Okay. I have a few more things I need to set up before I can actually do anything. Hello, dragon. Greetings! Still getting set up done, so I might need a few minutes. I am currently trying to figure out all of my streaming setup. Okay, everything looks good. All the windows are correctly shown. Alright. What even is NewtonsFourth anyway? Dude, Jimmy Neutron? That'd be crazy. Give me one moment. Oh, right. Apologies for that. Hi, Asteri. You know, what am I starting on? That is a great question, because I actually haven't decided yet. I was going to pick on stream, which is a bit of a bold task. There are 3 Daedric ruins that are currently available on our Trello that have not been started by anybody. And I was expecting them to all be gone by now, but they are not. So I was going to pick one of them. All right, so I'll just give it a couple of minutes for people to come in while and then after that I will pick one of these ruins to work on. Oh, okay. I'm looking at what you're saying. Me, those also. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll have a look at them. I mean, the ones we currently have available are Oh my god, I'm about to try and pronounce Daedric ruins in front of an audience. This is gonna go terribly. Assurdirapal, Zerganapal, and Ashamal. Okay. Ashal mi. I'm a professional. Ashal Mimi Kala. Okay, there we go. That one's a cave, so I'll probably not do that. Assurdirapal are 2 cent end. Okay, well, I'm gonna pull up all of the wiki pages for these dungeons, and if anyone in chat would like to offer a pick, maybe I'll do a poll. Okay, so let me pull up the wiki pages for these dungeons. So Assurdirapal, Zerganapal. I believe I would pick one of them if it was Sheogorath themed, but I believe that the Sheogorath ones are all picked because immediately everyone picked those because everyone wanted to do crazy stuff for a Sheogorath shrine. Okay. So, I am looking over this list. As said, we have Zerganapal, Miwaka, Assurdirapal, Ashnartes, and Tusanend. The first one is a Malakoth shrine. The second one is a Maroon's Dagon shrine. Then another Malakoth, then another Malakoth, and then a Molag Bal. Okay. So, Malakoth, Maroons, and Molag. So I've got a decent amount of choice here. Well, I suppose, is it, anyone have any picks? Feel free to post something in chat. I am completely undecided. I'm looking at these maps right now. The only one I am not doing is, I'm definitely not doing a Shalmi Kabu because this is the one for the Morak Tong quest. Okay, this one has a cave. And what you're looking at right now on stream is the cave I did just recently. This is Corridor for Molag Bal's quest. And it was Took me a while. It took a lot of brain power to do, and I'm in the mood for saying basic. What else is there? Okay. I think I'm gonna pick one of the Malakoth shrines. We've got Zerganapal, which is in the Ashlands, always a good sign, with no quests associated with it. And then there is Assurdirapal, which is part of the Fighters Guild quest. I think the answer is obvious. Pick the one that's easier, aka pick the one that doesn't have the quest associated with it. I am picking Zerganapal. Okay. Alright, let's have a look at this original layout while I load this up. I might end up swapping to the other one partway through, or I could just take both. It'll depend. Let's see. Ooh, there's already a layout here. Unexpected for something. This actually looks like a full dungeon. Okay. I think I have a feeling I might have been slightly misled by the Trello that said this was unstarted. As more I'm noticing a lot more people piling in. I have started the stream, to those who just are arriving, I have started the stream before picking which dungeon I'm going to be working on, to make sure that this introduction is as unprofessional as possible. Also, I thought it would be a little funny. Okay, this looks like someone has already gotten the majority of a base layout done. This is a huge dungeon. This looks like something I would make, because it's just unreasonably large. We might go with this. Let's have a look at the other one. We've got... How do you spell this? Assurdirapal. You know, sometimes I wonder how people come up with these names. Like, the original Morrowind dev team had to, at some point in time, write them. And that seems difficult. Okay, Assurdirapal is just a room at the moment. So not much. And then Ashal, I'm not doing. Assurdirapal. Ah, this is Malakoth's quest for Assurdirapal. Okay. We're checking it out. Clearly. Good at what I do. Alright, Assurdirapal. This one has an inner shrine section too, which means it's double the fun, because you have to make 2 whole cells. Okay, this one looks pretty just started. We might start off with Assurdirapal. Seems like a good place to begin. Not too done. Part of a quest. Mildly interesting. I think we've made our pick. So, I mentioned in the ping on our server that I am likely going to be using a lot of MS Paint. That's true. I'm going to need to lay out the base floor plan of this dungeon. So, if... Let me pull up the original map. So, save this image to my downloads. Open it up, and I'll bring it up on stream. New source. One moment. There we go. Okay. Should be showing up on stream. There we go. This is the original map of the dungeon that I'm gonna be working on. As you might notice, it is a little small. It's basically just 2 areas. It's a inner shrine section and a hallway, which isn't that much. Let's have a look at the quest that's associated with it. This is kind of part of the reason I'm doing this is kind of a little bit of insight into the process that I do level design, which is I kind of just haphazardly click around until I find something. Or the alternative is I already am super invested in picking an area and then pick it immediately. So, Assurdirapal, pull this up. This is Malakoth's quest. Ah, yeah, this is the one where you have to kill the false hero. Okay. So, alright. Looking through UESP, because that's the best reference other than just pulling it up in Morrowind. That's all the loot that's in there. Is this where the Malakoth statue is, or is this where the end of the quest is? This is where the Malakoth statue is. This is not where the actual quest is. Okay, so there's no actual quest that takes place here. This is just where the quest begins, which bit of a significantly easier to make, I'll tell you that. If you were here for the other stream I did earlier this week, you might have noticed that doing any form of coding is unreasonably annoying. It's possible, I can do it, it's just not fun. Ooh. I kicked my fan on my computer by accident. That's probably fine. Okay. Let's have another look at this. Yeah, this is a good reference for the interior. So we've just got this area, which is the one-to-one recreation of the original hallway. And then, seems like someone was doing something here at one point. And then, like, this room to be that. Okay, let's have a look at the outside. If there is an exit. Here we go. Actually, I should probably launch this in-game. Might be a better option to get a good look of what the exterior looks like, if it has been touched at all, which I am not sure yet, as I'm really starting from blank here. Let me launch up the build. Just to ask, is the music a decent volume? I want to make sure. I'm playing faint music in the background. I hope it's not too quiet or too loud. I can change the volume if it is. Just let me know. Perfect volume. Okay, well, I can't hear any music and perfect volume. So I'm gonna make it... It is a little quiet. Alright. Let me put the game up here. Give me one moment while that launches. All right. Game capture. Should connect. There we go. All right. You can't hear anything? All right, I'll boost it up slightly. There we go. COC. Oh my god, I just realized I have no idea how to spell this dungeon name. Assurdirapal Shrine? No. Assur. There we go. Took me a second. All right. Now I need to turn the music down. It's a little bit too loud for me. Let me change it in OBS. So, there we go. Okay. Last time I was streaming, I was showing kind of the late process of level design, where you're pretty far into making a dungeon. This is like extremely early. I haven't even, as you noticed, I literally picked on stream, so I haven't even begun thinking yet. I've got a few generic Daedric ideas on my plate. I believe it was Ostiri who had recently been working on. Okay, this door does not work. Fantastic. How do I leave? Who had recently been working on some sort of magical barrier / trap for various shrines. There's a couple of things we've been making recently that I should be able to mess around with. Okay, this is not the right cell. There is no exit. There's no exit in game. Fantastic. Well, we're looking... Is there anywhere? Oh, there it is. It's in there. Ah, the door's just not set up properly. Alright, well, 1 second. This door should work. Here we go. Okay. So let's boost our speed up a bit and have a look at this exterior. it looks pretty finished, to be honest. There's not too much here, but I don't think there needs to be much here. This is already a mostly complete Daedric ruin. Oh, Assyri replied. There was a soul urn for oh, that's for Molag Bal and the spike pillar for Malakoth. I'll have to look at what the spike pillar was. I don't remember seeing that one. Is this a separate Daedric ruin that's just like 30 feet from this one? It's kind of funny when they that they set it up that way. Let me have a check. No, this is, yeah, this is a different Daedric ruin. This is not the same ruin, just like nearby in another area. This is whatever that is. Yeah, this is something different. And this stuff in the water, I'm gonna assume is not directly associated with either, as it looks like it's kind of in between both. So I'm gonna assume it's probably related to both. I mean, I can see why they were right next to each other. Maybe I'll add a little bit of loot there, but for the most part, my focus is here. Not too much to do for the exterior. I think it's pretty done. I might, you know, fiddle around a little bit with the clutter, add some additional candles or something. Maybe onto these archways, adding some red candles would be nice. But other than that, overall, I'm feeling like this looks fine. There's already, these areas are already cluttered. Okay, having raw glass and an Orcus Tower shield and helm outside might be a little bit much in terms of loot, so I might need to lower that. But generally, the clutter is done. Maybe add a chair over here or something. Alright. Exterior's looking fine, is the point. Oh, and this is right. This is... Okay. Alright. Good to see. Let's close out of the game. Not merged yet. It'll be in next. Okay, I'll have a look at the Discord in a second. Alright, let me close out that. And I think I'll shrink this and just keep it in the corner as like a mild reference for a little bit. But yeah. Okay. At the random Silt Striders. Yeah, I actually... someone who knows more than me, tell me, do we have walking Silt Striders? I don't remember if that was a thing we're doing. So I don't think it is. But I do think we might have wild ones. I'd have to... Someone else who's on the Skywind team and is currently in chat, let me know. Not my area of expertise. Also, if you're on the Skywind team and in the Twitch chat, you should join the streaming stage on our Discord, because it would be nice to have somebody to bounce off of. Okay, I am going to zoom out significantly. And what I'm going to do is... We do not. We have an animation, but it was a nav meshing issue. Ah, damn, that's unfortunate. Well, maybe someone can mod it in. I am going to launch MS Paint, as promised. Let's set this up. Ah, perfect. Already set up. My OBS setup that I made literally 3 years ago is already prepared. Can I middle it? I can't. Perfect. Okay. So, I think... Let me make this black so it doesn't hurt my eyes as much. Can I... There you go. Do this. Fill. Okay. So, looking over the original map, I've got a few ideas. I definitely want to keep the original layout in terms of having an inner shrine section. I think the inner shrines... Having a multi-layered Daedric Ruin can make it feel a lot bigger than it is, even if it isn't actually bigger. And by that, I just generally mean adding load zones makes areas feel larger. The original Morrowind kind of did that a lot with, like, Dagoth and stuff. The location, not the guy. And Old Daedroth, for instance. I made that one a while back. It was kind of funny when I worked on Old Daedroth, because the actual dungeon is so much smaller than it feels in-game. It just has a lot of separate areas, so I had to make it a bit bigger to compensate. But okay. I'm trying to think about what type of shape we want. And I guess when I'm struggling with level design, something I like to do is think about something I like to do is think about what purpose would this serve? Like, what is this used for? And I kind of do this on a room-by-room basis, but just looking over it, this is a Malakoth Shrine, and it's not only a Malakoth Shrine, it's the Malakoth Shrine, as in it's the one you do for the quest, right? So this one should probably look a lot fancier than the others. Alongside that, there's Orcish armor here, there's a lot of powerful loot, okay. A book about Erisnium, cool. And yeah, I'm thinking I definitely want to make it look expensive and not ruined. I mean, the exterior's kind of ruined, and we only really want those super intricate exteriors for a couple of locations. For the interior, though, definitely more detailed, no cave section for sure. The first thing that comes to my mind is making some sort of arena, like some sort of, like, death pit where people fight each other. That feels Malakoth-y to me. Something like that. I can roughly visualize how I'd like a room like that to look, but I am trying to think of more creative designs that I could do. Potentially having like an indented area in the floor, maybe putting some spikes and some dirt there to, you know what I mean, to make it more violent, something like that. Having kind of like, not bleachers, but like some sort of stands on the exterior for people to sit at. Joy said file cutting stream when. That would be a peaceful stream. File cutting is a very peaceful process. Okay. So, the arena's an obvious idea, though, and I think it's been done before. That doesn't mean I can't do it again. It's fine if I make it look notably different. But I'm trying to come up with other Malakoth ideas. What are orc things? What are things they do? What are things? I'm trying to look at... I'm currently browsing through UESP to remind myself of orc design motifs that might be interesting to do. Part of my brain is like, oh, it's a Daedric ruin, make it sacrifice rooms and torture chambers. And as much as those kind of fit, those are more notably Molag or Maroons themed. And I feel like, at least in my own Daedric ruins and a lot of our Daedric ruins, we tend to, like, keep those as the Molag and Maroons things. Lacuna, you're definitely right there. File cutting, when I did a lot of file cutting, it definitely got a bit annoying sometimes. I'm wondering if some sort of, like, cleansing ritual would make sense as an idea for a room or a location in the dungeon. Some kind of zoo for dangerous beasts. That is a fun idea. Actually, I will think about it. That's kind of clever. So the idea that first came to my mind is a cleansing station, like a ritual bathing area, which I might not initially seem Malakoth, but just like reading through some of Malakoth's old lore, reminding me of it, I can, given how so much of the way that orcs are perceived in the Elder Scrolls, in terms of their like, the origin of, like, Boethia eating Trinimac and stuff with all this, and they're, like, I don't know, portrayed as unclean, I can see bathing rituals being part of their of, like, some sort of Malakoth culture. It seems to make a rough amount of sense. Eyes are a symbol of Malakoth. That's true, but I am going to include them, but I'm more thinking of, like, like, purposes for rooms. That's, like, more of, like, a visual motif I'd put in a room. But I think I've got a general idea. I think I've got arena and like, cleansing area. I want to keep these separate from the inner shrine, because I feel like the inner shrine should be totally shrine-related. As that sentence made sense, right? So, okay. The reason there's no door here is because in the original there were 2 doors on the exterior, and our thing only has 1. I definitely am not going to keep that. There's no way I'm having 2 doors again. That's weird design. I think let's start with a hallway. I feel like that's always a good start. So we'll make it purple because this is the walls. So we'll do a little walk. We'll do a little, like, a small stairwell. D&D style, Dungeons and Dragons style notation with the dots to mean a stairwell. God, this looks so silly. Okay. I don't know if I want to have the arena right away. I'm feeling like that might be a good idea. Instead of having, like, a kind of windy, wavy design, maybe this would work better if you were just, like, immediately presented with the thing, and then the most of the dungeon is offshoot rooms. I feel like that might make for a more interesting design than having just, like, a unnecessary additions. So I think, especially in the context, right, they're gonna want to put it at the entrance. So I'm thinking, like, we'll do this. And now we want to have offshoot rooms. Now, in terms of, like, actually how big this room is going to be, probably, like, one... No, I can't do it like that. Let me use the pencil tool. It's probably, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles might be good. That way I can have a 1-tile gap in the middle. Or if I did 6 tiles, I could have a 2x2 gap in the middle. And if you're wondering what I mean by the gap, it's... I wanted to make the arena itself a pit in the ground. And it is a little bit difficult to... Because the way the tiles work is they're quite large. So it's kind of difficult to make, like, a pit that just, like, looks good. Because you can only take away 1 tile, right? If it's 5x5, 1 middle tile is too small. But if you want to make a square where you take away 3 tiles, like, on every side, it's way too much. So I think maybe 6, maybe 7, something like that. So, okay. We could do 4 offshoot rooms, 2 on each side, and then, like, a main tunnel forward. There's a couple of ways of approaching this. I am trying to think, like, okay, what would happen? That bathing idea, I feel like that might work best is, like, a long room rather than a square chamber. Also, for combat purposes, like, just thinking about how this dungeon would actually play, having a hallway that's kind of like this, where it's like... Oh my god, that's the worst drawing I've ever made in my life. Okay. I mean, part of the reason of using MS Paint is to be intentionally bad, because it's kind of funny. But, you know, I gotta have some standard. Something like this. This allows the player to, like, loop around like this, and I feel like in the... That's a Gwar. I feel like in the Elder Scrolls... kiting enemies is such an important part of combat that I feel like I always have to include either a pillar in the center of the room or some sort of object the player can kite around. Like, it's kind of how spellcasters don't die in every fight. So, I'm thinking a room like this. Let's break text, right? Bathing area. And we'll add a little blue. This is the water. Fantastic. I'm gonna put this image of this map, this MS Paint drawing, on my portfolio when I apply to Bethesda. Okay. What else? Well, the other side, I could go for a similar room, but I feel like that doesn't make much sense. So maybe an armory. Newton for concept artist. Oh my god, no. I can't 3D model, I can't 2D model, but I can do my level design, and I'll stick to that. You know, like, you know, it's kind of funny. The other day, I was looking into how other games do their level design. Stuff like TF2, for instance. And, you know, because they've got, like, 2 passes. They've got, like, 2 passes where they have, like, someone just set up all the collision and level design with, like, clip brushes and stuff, and then they have another guy, like, do all the 3D modeling and art passing. That's not how Skywind works at all. But I was thinking about that a lot, because it's like, I'm glad that my inability to 3D model won't hold me back too much. I can clip brush real well, I'll tell you that. Someone said something to drink and celebrate victories. That actually is kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking of having, not here, though, but, like, later, like after. I was thinking that these 2 rooms can be armories. So, oh, hi, Argyle. Argyle, you should join the voice chat. I need someone to talk to. I'm gonna draw a little sword to say that this is... Oh my god, that looks so bad. This is the armory. This is where they arm their armor. Or maybe a smithery, something like that. Oh! Okay. Professional artist. There we go. Fantastic. Popsicle rooms. Argyle, because I enjoy talking to you. You should join the voice chat. Shovel rooms. That's where they keep their shovels. The famous Malakoth shovel. That's his thing. What's the item called? The Sunder. No, it's not Sunder. What am I talking about? What is it called? Scourge? Voldrung? I think those are the two Malakoth ones. Oh, hi, Mr. Koo, 48. Welcome. I am currently attempting to do concept art for a for a dungeon I'm going to be making later on the stream. Though, actually, it depends. If I spend like an hour and a half in MS Paint, I might just do MS Paint for the entire stream. This might just be an MS Paint stream. It depends. Also, these are going to be locked, obviously, because, like, I don't want to put the loot at the start of the dungeon, but for, like, visual reasons, I would like to put the loot at the start of the dungeon, so let's draw a little lock to represent that it's locked. Oh, this is a perfect lock. This is exactly what locks look like in real life. Oh, oh, amazing. Perfect. Well, Lacuna, I'm glad you showed up. It's always good to have you. And the more people, the better. Chat helps keep my mind focused somewhat. But yeah, okay. I think this is a good start. Zippo lighters for locks. I think this is a good start. I think having this is kind of like a theme is a good idea. A couple of people were talking about having some sort of like revelry room. All right. Well, if your headache calms down, I would love to have you. Some sort of like revelry or debauchery room is an idea. Another concept that I'm thinking is a trophy room. And by trophy, I mean like it could be that could be trophies in the sense of like weapons that are famous, and maybe it's like you know, we do have display cases, although display cases feel a little out of place for a Daedric ruin. So maybe some setup with hooks I could make. I can visualize how approximately I'd make that look with like spears hanging up or something. Or it could be body parts, like a skull as a trophy from some sort of kill. That's true. Debauchery is more sanguine. That's a good point. That's why I'm kind of leaning to this trophy idea, of having. I think a trophy room would work. I just need to think of how to like make it visually look. Like the first thing that comes to my mind is a hallway. So a hallway. I should draw this in MS Paint. A hallway like this, and then like we'll make them yellow because it's treasure. Oh, perfect. There's like a loot piece here and a loot piece here. Maybe even a readable plaque that says where it comes from. That would be kind of cool. Like a plaque that's like names this random, completely unenchanted chitin spear, the spear of the destroyer. You know what I mean? Something like that to like make it feel a little special. I'm just not sure if I'd want to put this at the start of the dungeon or the end. Also, in case you've seen our Daedric hallways, they're not good for doing this. They're very narrow. They're not really good for decorating the walls of. Although we have a couple of options for that. I could probably figure it out. Okay, I think I'm going to stick with... this is roughly fine. Wait. Actually, yeah, no, I'm not going to keep an intentional typo. That would be a little silly. Okay. So some sort of treasure hallway I feel like is a good idea. Followed by what? Well, I could just go to the Inner Shrine immediately. This dungeon doesn't need to be super big. However, if anyone here is on the team, they'll know that I am known for making things very big. You could put in the start and make the player backtrack to loot them. That's what I was going to do for the armories, actually. That's why they're locked. As I was thinking, like, whenever I put a locked door, I always do put a key. Skyrim does that, like, a little bit. Morrowind does that occasionally. I try to be pretty consistent about it. If there's a locked door, it's, you know, someone has the key, so it's either on a body or somewhere. I was thinking of either hiding it somewhere or on a person, so you have to kill an enemy, or it's at the end. Could be one of the two. I'll have to see how things actually lay out when I'm placing them in the game, because obviously like this, nothing's to scale, so it's a little bit hard to get a feel for how big areas are. So, treasure hallway feels like a good idea. This is also like, from a game design perspective, like, we're starting off immediately with a combat encounter. Then, like, I don't know if any of you guys in chat play Dungeons & Dragons. But there's this common trope for dungeon masters to help make dungeons that's called the 5-room dungeon. Now, that doesn't really apply to D&D. That doesn't really apply to video game design. But there are aspects of it that you can kind of keep in mind. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about here. The 5-room dungeon is like, the first thing should be like a thing to get, then you have the introduction to the dungeon, then you have like a puzzle, then a role-playing counter, then a combat encounter, and then the boss fight. That makes a lot more sense in D&D. But I kind of think about it here as like, I don't want to put two of the same type of room in front of each other. So we have like an introduction area that is also a combat encounter. Then I have kind of like a quote-unquote role-play encounter, which is this treasure hallway. And then either a puzzle or another combat encounter should come next. I should alternate. So if I want to do some room that's interesting for combat, well, I guess I should check what region we're in. Assurdirapal, let me pull up. I think it was Shagorad, right? Shagorad, yes. Okay. This is Shagorad, so no lava. A bit unfortunate. I had an idea for a lava room, but I guess I'll have to save that in the back burner for when we're making Daedric. Instead, I like the shape of the room I'm making. I'm gonna sketch this out and see how we get. So something like this, where like something like, oh my god, these are so uneven. Well, can you kind of see what this would be if this was lava, where there would be like a bunch of pits in the room that had lava in them with the mezzanine assets we have surrounding them? That's kind of what I'm imagining here. Although water in a dungeon does feel a little bit out of character, I feel like a room like this, the way I'd probably light it to be best would be blue or purple. Those colors feel out of place for Malakoth. They could be bone pits. That might be kind of cool. I did mention that trophy room, which I kind of am doing with a hallway, but might work here too. Skeleton pits, I have mixed feelings on making one of those. Because as cool as that sounds, and as cool as it looks in other games, a skeleton pit is going to take me a while to make. I can say make a skeleton pit here. Green murky water, that's true. Yeah, I could make it work. I'm less thinking about like visually making it blend and more thematically making it blend. A skeleton pit is such a good idea, but in case anyone here doesn't know, the Skyrim creation kit cannot pose corpses. Only the Fallout creation kit, Fallout 4 creation kit can pose corpses. What that means is that if I wanted to pose skeletons, I'd have to do them manually bone by bone with static bone assets. It would look really cool, but it would also, if I make this decision, I'm committing like 10 hours. I think I'm going to keep the water and say possible skeleton pit. I feel like that's good. It is pure headache, Carbocats. That it's such a headache that I actually ended my last stream that I did, I think Tuesday or Monday. I was doing my stream and I was working on Corridor, and I got to the part where I needed to manually place skeletons, and I ended the stream because I didn't want to place the skeletons. It was so annoying. That I ended the stream and just said, I'll do it another day. And then I waited 2 days, and then I did it then. So possible skeleton pit. Maybe. Now, obviously, this building should keep going forward. There should be, like, another chamber here. Question, should this room also have offshoot rooms? I'm thinking about it. The way the Daedric set is set up, the doorways are quite large. So what I could do is have 2 offshoot rooms, and have those be the treasure chambers that I was talking about earlier. Not like literal treasure chambers. I mean like a skull on a pedestal with a plaque. Or something. I'm feeling like that might be a good idea. Something along those lines. And this room could easily be turned into a combat encounter. I mean, especially with all these water pits. I just have to make sure they're not deep enough for the player to get stuck in them. No GBJ allowed. I think I've got a good approximate idea going along here. Yeah, this is an infirmary room to clean their wombs before they jump in the pits. I don't think Malakath's worshippers are gonna have doctors. I think those people go to Azura or stay out of the Daedric worships. I don't see anyone trained in medicine. I think might stick away from it. At the most, maybe a health potion or two. Yeah, just drink it off. You'll be fine. Okay. Now, adding, I feel like, yeah, what I've currently got going on is quite linear. At the moment, it's just a room, and then some side rooms, and then a room, and then some side rooms. And that's a fine way of designing a dungeon. But I think having a little bit of variety might be good. Malakath is kind of the last hope for those turned away by society. There could be some rudimentary medical stuff. That's a valid point. I'm not sure if I'd want to put a focus on that, though. As, I don't know, it does feel a little bit out of place compared to the arena and, like, skull trophies. But I could. I guess I'll have to see how it looks in-game. As I feel like that's something I'd only want to do, if I could, like, make it obvious. And I'm not sure how easy it will be to make that obvious. For now, though, I think what I approximately want to do is have, like, another hallway. Ooh, that's the wrong color. It definitely matters. Hallway go in here, and then some kind of room, then a hallway come in here. If the orcs practice sparring. Maybe. I'll think it over. I'll see how it looks. You make a valid point. And then some kind of room here. So I'm thinking, like, something like this shape, approximately. And then one of these rooms is either a puzzle, or extra loot, or some books or something. And then, maybe a training room. That could work. Justifying something is the easy part. Actually deciding if it's desirable is the hard part. That is a good point. I mean, to be honest, you can justify a lot of stuff with Elder Scrolls lore. It's super vague. I mean, remember that time I filled a Maroon's Dagon dungeon full of plants? That was a fun time. I placed 3,000 of them. Okay, so yeah, one of these is going to lead to some sort of sparring room or whatever. I'll come up with something later. And then the other one might be more of a generic shrine room that leads into the inner shrine. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Unless I want to add more rooms. I'm looking back at this original design. I could make this place really big. This is the internal struggle I personally have when doing level design, is deciding if I want to make an area gargantuan or not. As I have a bit of a habit of doing that. I'm going to actually, here's an idea. I'm going to look at one of my other Daedric dungeons as reference, and I'm going to count how many rooms it has. You might see the screen wiggling a bit behind MS Paint. I am currently checking Ebernonet, the dungeon I talked about last time, and I'm going to count how many rooms I did. Yeah, see you another time, Joy, and I'm glad you were here to listen for a bit. I thought this stream would be a little bit nice to have compared to the last one, because the last one was all just, like, me manually placing rocks. So I thought something like this, where everyone can see, like, this is the actual level design process, I thought would be kind of cool. Alright, counting Ebernonet. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ebernonet has only 5 rooms. Okay. So, there's that 5-room dungeon I told you about. That's a great example of it. That's how I designed that one. Back to quarter. Okay. Well, at this point, I think I'm onto a decent idea. I want to add some verticality to this dungeon. I feel like that's something I've lacked in my other Daedric Ruins, and something that is very present in the original game's Daedric Ruins. And it's something I kind of missing out on a little bit. So I'm going to want to include here. Let me... Oh, I've loaded the wrong dungeon. There we go. Well, size doesn't matter. What matters is what you can do with it. It's a little bit of both. I think, I think what matters, to be honest, about dungeon size isn't the individual dungeon. What matters is the distribution over the entire game. I think an interesting factoid about our Skywind development is that when we were doing tombs as a team, everyone put a cave in their tomb. Like, the entire team put a cave in their tomb. And we actually had to ban putting caves in tombs. Not because they're bad, but because they were so oversaturated that if we didn't... It's fine now, but if we did any more at the time, it would have been too much. And it's kind of similar with large dungeons versus small dungeons. You want to... Yeah, if every dungeon is an hour long, that's way too much. But if every dungeon is short, like they were in Morrowind, it's not interesting. So... we're trying to get a good balance. I think I've got a general idea here. I've got this room, and let me zoom out a bit. How do I MS Paint? There we go. Fantastic. Oh. Can I only zoom in increments of 50%? That can't be right. I refuse to believe it. MS Paint would never do this to me. Okay, well... Alright. Whatever. Professional. General idea of where I'm going. I think let's go over here. Well, first of all, let me just, real quick, make this whole area black. There we go. I think what I want to do is, if this room is gonna be... Control scroll, not doing anything. If this room is armor... Let me actually label this. Training room, and then a smiley face. Have you put any references and symbolism into dungeon design other than Easter eggs? Absolutely. Oh, 100%. I mean, the most obvious one is, lighting. For instance, lighting the tribunal by their respective colors. So Almalexia is lit red, Vivek is lit green, Sothasil is lit blue, stuff like that. Normally when I'm placing banners, I'll have Nerevar and Vivek in like a staring contest. So stuff like that. There's a ton of visual symbolism. Give me one moment, and then one second, I have to pull up another note about this dungeon. Okay, so, as I said, generic shrine room, and I just had I am debating if I want to have some sort of alternate pathway or route. Like, I could do something like this, where I have, like, a few routes, and then only one of them leads the right way. But I'm wondering what that might be. I could just put a lot of, like, a lot of trophies. Actually, that might be a good idea. Now that I think about it, maybe one of this dungeon's quote-unquote gimmick or vibe or thing, like, what makes it unique. I feel like every dungeon you should be able to describe every dungeon in a few words. Every time, because a player is not going to remember what a room looked like exactly. What they're going to do is they're going to turn off their computer and go, I remember the dungeon with all the vines. I remember the dungeon that had this. I remember the dungeon that had that. Maybe this dungeon's thing can be these trophies. I feel like this is a good idea, and the readable plaques, I'm kind of down for. So, I'm actually going to do this. Someone said in chat, they're glad to see a lot of thought is put into it. Oh, an extreme amount of thought. I am a huge fan, personally, of movies that have a ton of symbolism, so stuff like The Shining, where every, like, little detail in the background is, like, helping create a viewer experience. So I am absolutely doing the exact same thing for Skywind. Like, everything should be a metaphor. Like, everything should... And that doesn't mean the player needs to notice it. It can just be subtle. They might not notice that these things are like this, but it will create this image in their mind. For instance, with the Vivek and Nerevar banners, they might not ever notice that Vivek and Nerevar are constantly in a staring contest, but they'll notice that they're on opposite sides of the room, or even more simply, that they're just always next to each other, they're always together. Stuff like that. It's, also, like, when I was making Nerevar's shrine in, the Hall of Wisdom, I lit it with black candles, which might be a little too on the nose, but, you know, whatever. I'm gonna put a little legend here that just says, like, trophy, oh my god, trophy room, and then I'm gonna draw a little, gonna draw a little smiley face, and that's how I know. I'm gonna put that everywhere that there's one of these like body parts or something, whatever I want to call these. I'm gonna keep calling them. That's the quote that I was also thinking of, Sketchbook. Is that a Fight Club quote? I haven't seen that movie. Are there any tilted dungeons with slopes like that one in the labyrinthian area? I don't know exactly what you mean by tilted. Do you mean like the entire dungeon is like caved in and on its side? I can think of a couple areas that are like that, but none come to mind immediately. We've definitely gone a little bit off the walls with some of our general designs. Like, for instance, all Daedroth has some crazy stuff. That's from something else. Well, whatever. I think I've watched a few Red Letter Media videos. I used to watch a lot more film reviews, and now I just watch a lot more films. Alright. Okay, so I think this is like, I think I've got a good thing going here. This is my, box that. This is like approximately what I want to do with this dungeon. The question is, do I want any more rooms before the inner shrine? I might want one more combat encounter. I'm kind of alternating, like combat encounter, no combat, combat, no combat. Something like that might work. Or I just have another combat encounter here. I might do that. This is a process and a half. It's been a while since I've used MS Paint to sketch out a dungeon. I didn't do it for Corridor, because I already just immediately knew what I was going to do for it. And the Hall of Wisdom and Vivek City, which is what I was doing previously, I didn't do either, because I not to say I didn't prepare it, I actually have had over like 10 drafts of the Hall of the Temple Canton that I completely deleted, because I just didn't like them. They used to all be in the build, but now they're gone. Point is, I just haven't done it like this specifically in a while. Oh, let me draw. This is a stairwell, because this definitely should be a stairwell. I appreciate it, Sketchbook. I think a lot. It's not just me. I think all of our devs are really putting like a ton of thought into where things go and in the like small stuff, you know, because that's what I enjoy in games. It's one of the reasons my favorite games are what they are. For instance, Darkest Dungeon is on my top 10 games list for a reason. Okay. Do I want to have one more room? I'm trying to visualize what this room might even look like, and I'm having a little bit of difficulty. Okay, Mickey, I need to Google what that word means. What is that? Cag Grenzel? Is this a Ligma joke? No, it is not. It is a Skyrim map. Okay, alright, give me a second. Okay, let me have a look. Oh, it's this one. Ah, I see. No, I don't think we have anything like that in the game at the moment. Alright, I remember this fall. Actually, well, now that we have levitation, there's a couple of areas with large falls, but they're not, like, designed like that. Levitation kind of makes things a little bit extremely different. Also check out the Argonian Ligma Plague. Ah, dude, that's crazy. Okay, I think I'm gonna have another room. I'm just gonna mark another room, and if I cut it during design, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Another stairwell, because I feel like downward stairwells are a really good way of representing progress. The room with the cage beasts for the pit idea scrapped. I am not sure exactly what you mean. Are you referring to what you mentioned earlier? What was mentioned earlier in chat about having animals behind walls? I mean, I am still thinking about it. I'm not sure actually how that would work with their AI. This way of design looks so free. I mean, that's the that's kind of the point. Well, when I'm not doing it in MS Paint, I do it on paper. I normally do it on paper when I'm not streaming. And that's kind of, the actual engine itself is significantly more limited. I have no drawing abilities whatsoever, so this is the extent of my drawing. I think this is the way I prefer to do it, because I feel like I get a good perspective on the dungeon as a whole when I can kind of see it forming in front of me. Applechip said, levitation should only be required in areas Dark Elves inhabit. Well, okay, as a note, levitation is never required, except in Telvanni Towers, of course. It's always optional for loot, but to get to the quote-unquote end of a dungeon, it's never required. But there is levitation-only areas, and I hadn't forgotten. I was just gonna put it in the inner shrine. Levitation, so levitation is used all the time in Daedric Ruins. It's not a Dunmer specific thing. It's just a thing that only existed in this game. I think there's some sort of lore explanation in Morrowind, or in the later games, that's like, oh, it got banned. I don't know. I think that might be for teleportation magic. The point is, we just have it everywhere, pretty much. Not to say that makes the Telvanni any less special. Definitely not in cities. I'm just referring to, like, cave design and level design. The player's gonna have levitation, so we do our design around it. Kind of also acknowledging what Jester said, yeah, it's outlawed. Yeah, whatever. Not thinking about limitations. I mean, I kind of am. I'm just not bringing them up too much, because I already know what all of them are. I'm very familiar with this tile set. The Daedric set's, like, 2 or 3 years old. So I know it quite well, so I'm very aware of what's possible with it. So I'm drawing out what I know approximately what I can do with it, and this is based on that. But okay, I think I'm gonna do this, and we're doing a door. So let's do door. This leads to the inner shrine. So inner shrine. Maybe I'm gonna mark down, I'm not actually gonna lay out a specific area for it. I'm just gonna write just like animal room somewhere. Probably. I'll figure it out. Let's do that. There you go. Maybe an arrow. Maybe I'll put it here. Maybe I'll put it here instead of inner shrine. I haven't decided. But okay. General. Let me zoom out. Have a look at what I've put together. Just trying to like internalize this flow and see if this is an engaging gameplay experience. It is, of note, a straight line. Someone said, is there a dungeon where you have to polymorph? I mean, not to my knowledge. Maybe someone will make it. There's a lot of weird dungeons. Maybe that was in the original game. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in Morrowind I still just don't remember. I played it all the time as a kid, but there is it's a lot. But yeah, I'm trying to think about it. Note, as I said, this is a straight line. Little bit I kind of don't like straight lines, but you also don't want to make something too maze-like. I could connect these areas with another hallway. So let's put a little note here that says possible connection with stairwell. Farewell, Lacuna. Have a good rest of your day. Good having you here. Thanks for showing up. So yeah, something like this possible connection, just to like add multiple ways of approach. For instance, if a player wants to stealth, having that is a good idea. I don't think there's anything else to connect over here, but this might be a worthwhile connection to make. All right. I'm looking right now at the original design. Now, the original Morrowind, let me draw this. This is a bird's eye view, but like this is not. So like the original Morrowind had these, this is not bird's eye. So had these areas where it was like a pit in the center, and then like a stairwell that connected it down, and then they'd have, that's a statue. Statue, let me label it. Not high spell statue. There we go. This is like a thing that the original Morrowind did a lot. They'd normally have one of those like spiky balls that made the smoke hanging from the ceiling. Is Mark and Recall an issue in quests? Nope. We have Mark and Recall in the game. I mean, I think, or well, we are including them. I don't know if it's in right now, but it will be implemented. There's a couple areas where you can't use it, but that's just the same in the original game. Like, you couldn't use it in the Heart Chamber. Nah, it doesn't mess with stuff. It works fine. Okay. It's gonna be really funny if someone just immediately corrects me. Alright, I'm going to take approximately 15 seconds and have a glass of water. One moment. I am back from getting my glass of water. I know, a whole 15 seconds. So, as I was saying, this is a pretty common design in the original Morrowind, and I'm looking at Assurdirapal, and I can see it's the exact same design. This is the same thing. It's the inner shrine that has the double layer, and then a shrine at the bottom with a door that leads up. I don't know if I want to do that. I would like to have some amount of verticality. As mentioned before, I feel like that's a good thing to include. However, I don't know if I want that to be the entire inner shrine. That can be the final area. Let's think about, like, what I've done so far with this dungeon. I've kind of been turning it into an arena, so that's kind of just, like, general Malakoth chamber. I'm thinking... I'd like to have multiple paths. That's something I'm thinking. One idea I'm considering is something like this. Where it's like, how do I draw this? Where the player can, like, take any hallway or something. Or any route. There's, like, a few ways to approach a situation that kind of looks approximately like this. This is an idea that's... Is it on Civi Shrine? Oh, no, definitely not. This is Daedric. This is Malakoth. The number 3 is allowed. I was just thinking of having more trophies in here. But something like that could work. No, it's definitely not Civi. Yeah, no, absolutely not. This is. Why haven't I put the name in the top left? I'm gonna misspell it. Damn it. Assurdirapal. Concept art. Yeah, let's label it concept art. This is my concept art. Add me to the 2D team. I'm a professional artist. So yeah, something like this is something I'm thinking. Although, I don't like this too much. How do I erase better? Is there a better erase? Can I erase more efficiently? Can I, maybe I can, oh, this is some big, that did not work. No, Get rid of this. Okay, now I have to relabel. Doing it again. Oh, that's the wrong color. There we go, perfect. Fantastic. Well, oops. I'm pondering, I'll tell you that. I think I'm gonna stick with something like that. I think this idea of multiple hallways is a good idea. You're sketching on a black field. Well, I'm sketching on a black area because it hurt. That's exactly why. It makes my eyes hurt less. I could have done white. I'm doing blacks exclusively just because I think it makes my eyes hurt less a little bit. I spend too much time in front of this computer. Okay, so let's have, like, a square. So some sort, well, I'll draw it out. A hallway that has, like, these two routes go up. So there's, like, an area up here that goes, like, oops. Bum, 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 bum. D&D notation for stairs, except drawn terribly. So something up here, maybe with a little room up here? Question mark? You know, maybe. And then the main path goes under both of these as like a hallway. Now, I would like to make this one room. I know an extremely easy way to set this exact setup up with hallways. It will look so much worse. So I'm gonna actually put a little note there that just says, like, could make with hallways, probably make with retractable stairs. When I say retractable stairs, I don't actually mean retractable stairs. I mean there's an asset called retractable stairs that looks nice, and I will probably use that. So yeah, something like this, I feel like is a good idea just for a shape of a room to kind of, you're entering the shrine and the first thing you see is a stairwell upwards, I kind of like. In fact, in hindsight, it actually might be a better idea if you have to ascend up. Ooh, this is interesting. This is interesting. Do I want it to be that you have to ascend upwards to go to the shrine, even though we've been descending downwards the entire time? Or should you have to ascend upwards. I think I should... I think I'm going to stick with ascending downwards. So that's why I even add a node that just like... downstairs? Question mark? Maybe. I should probably stay thematically consistent. I'm gonna stick with the downstairs. This is Malakoth. We're descending into darkness. That's fine. Daedric Ruins. It's also, you know why? Because I mentioned this before. Visual metaphors and stuff. Stairways and verticality is a good way of doing that. But it's Sketchbook. You're correct. It's that a player is gonna. A player might not consciously think, oh, I'm going down. It's getting spookier. But I want them to approximately feel that, like something like that. I might actually, by the way, I might just cut the inner shrine, to be honest. Like, I'm debating if I even want it to be a separate cell. I have no idea why it was a... Coming down to talk to Malakoth is a good idea. Well, I can't imagine it's very safe. I have no idea why the original game had, whatchamacallit, like a separate cell. It's a little odd. Let me put this over here. There you go. I have no idea why the original game made it a separate cell. It definitely could load. They've had larger cells. But I guess maybe it was load times. Maybe just a lot of enemies. Okay. So yeah, downstairs. Now what? Is that room gonna work? Maybe with the tall room pieces, retractable stairs, and the mezzanines. Yeah, I could probably do it. If I can't, I can always change it. Okay. Another note, this is a pretty linear dungeon, and to be honest, backtracking this might suck. So I might add another potential connection here that lets you skip some of it. Kind of considering that. Shrines are usually upwards unless it's some puny arcade shrine. Possible connector? We'll write that. Mostly just because it's a shortcut. It's a shrine to demons. Yeah, this is no Imperial shrine. This is a Malakoth ruin. Alright. This is a tough one. This is definitely... I put this much thought into all of my dungeons, but this one is definitely causing me to pick my brain more than it normally does. Normally, I feel pretty smooth going the whole way through, but this is a rough one. I don't know why. I think it's just I'm unfamiliar with Malakoth in particular. And, I haven't done a proper Daedric ruin in over a year. I did Corridor just now, but that's half cave. Have I seen the Rolling Giant? I have seen that video. I have seen that backroom. It's the Backrooms guy, right? Kane Pixels? He's the guy who does the, Yeah, I have seen that one. Yes. It's a good video. There's so many videos on the internet. It's crazy. We gotta get rid of some of them. Just delete all of them. He goes down and... Yeah, he goes down. Well, there you go. Yeah, down's the direction of demons. I guess. That's why they... That's new Vsauce video, right? Okay. Okay. I think I am going to... You're descending down. I'm like closing my eyes and trying to imagine what this is going to look like in our tile set. To be honest, it could just go straight into this room. Like this room I was describing earlier. I said I didn't want it. I was more like I didn't want just this. But I'm okay having this shape. It is pretty iconic to the original Morrowind design. I could do something like that. Do I want anything else? I'm pondering my orb right now. That's what's going on. I'm pondering my orb to see if I have any better dungeon ideas. Oh, man. Alright. Okay. I think I've got it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a hallway with a few more offshoot rooms, and then we're just going to go straight to this. In total, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unique sections. That's, I think I've got it. I think that's a good approach. So what I'm going to draw out is we're going to do something like this. I really like the design with the two staircases going between them. Maybe you could somehow build the rest more into it. I could. I was thinking, Skyrim the Malakov Shrine was on a hill, but maybe Dunmer hated that Daedra. Well, the Dunmer did not build the shrine. I mean, well, okay, some of them did. I misspoke. The people who worship the Tribunal did not make the shrine, is what I meant to say. I mean, there were probably a few Dunmer involved in it, who knows? But, I mean, the Dunmer's opinions on the Daedra are so complicated. There's a million books in the game about them. You know, it's funny, I've already been streaming for an hour and 10 minutes. I was originally going to do this and then start work on the dungeon and then do that for a while. But to be honest, I might only do like a 2-hour stream where and then just like finish this planning and before I actually start. And then just like, this was the whole stream. So, you know, I might end up doing that. We'll have to see. Okay. I definitely want more of a staircase, so maybe like a staircase. I'm just gonna write staircase with breaks. What I mean by that is like some sort of staircase that has the occasional break either into breakout rooms or like something like maybe like pauses with more trophy chambers, and I'm not really gonna think this through too much. I think I'm just gonna like draw this out roughly. And just say, like, I will think about what rooms I want to put here. Maybe I'll come back to it, maybe I won't. For now, that's the general idea. And I'm not, I'll put a turn. Why not? Mostly because I'm at the edge of my canvas. I could make it straight in the final, but who knows? Okay, that way. Amazing arrows. Let's have a look to reflect at this hell of a drawing I've made. So ridiculous. Alright, one moment. I'm continuing to ponder. A lot of ideas I can do here. Few ones. Did the music pause? It's paused on my end. There we go. Okay. So... man, do I really just want to end it with a room? I could just end it with a room. Oh, that would be fine. There's no quest here. Come on, Newton. Don't make it too big. It's just... I'm thinking about it. Okay. Idea for a thing. I could have levitation be used as a shortcut with a levitation-only required area with some potions at the end, or where you need to ascend vertically to get back. There's no quest associated with it? Oh, well, what I meant by that is this is where you start Malakoth's quest, but nothing actually happens here. Like, you come to this place, you talk to him, and then you go do his quest. Like, the actual, like, quest itself does not take place here, is what I meant. Other than, I guess, receiving it, but that's kind of unrelated to the dungeon itself, is what I meant. I mean, to be honest, Serrano, in a dungeon with no quest, I spent over 200 hours designing. So, you know, you can spend a lot of time on some random dungeons. There's nothing there, it's just a dungeon with a lot of detail. But, yeah, no, this is Malakoth's quest, but it's like, technically be 2 rooms. I mean, that is what it was in the original game. A lot of Morrowind dungeons are 2 rooms, but, you know, kind of, we have a bit of a standard of quality on the team to make our dungeons more engaging level design-wise than the original. So yeah, I'm continuing to think a drop might be interesting. So let me kind of just put an arrow here, and then I'm going to put a arrow here. So like, I have a little bit of room on this canvas to work. Okay, let me describe what I'm thinking here. So some sort of large room, right, that the player can enter, with a big pit in the middle. And this pit leads not to like an abyss, but like kind of like the original. Yeah, they executed the builders. I mean, I don't know who built these things. Sometimes I wonder, with these crazy designs, who actually builds this stuff. You know, I mean, that's kind of true for all level design, to be honest. I mean, you know, you want to avoid it, of course, but at the end of the day, it is quite difficult to make an area that looks real. That's not too hard with cities, but with dungeons? I mean, think about it in any video game you've ever played, right? Half-Life? Who built that place? Why did Black Mesa look like that? Why are there parkour sections? You know? Why are there parkour segments in Black Mesa? Why'd they do that? Is that OSHA approved? You're allowed 5%? But yeah. So, I'm thinking, like, you could just jump down. Or, there's, like, a room. Maybe even 2 rooms, to be honest. Maybe even 2 whole rooms. Fun should trump realism, that's true. You know, if it's not fun, why bother? But there is a degree, but realism can often enhance fun. So I want to, and this goes to here. So this is kind of what I'm imagining. Evil minions built it and sought to test the mettle of the adventurers with parkour. You know, let me tell you something, Green Fang. Parkour in the creation kit in the Havoc engine kinda sucks. Not gonna lie, it's not great. It is and as much as Morrowind focuses more on mobility than Skyrim or Oblivion did with its jump spells and levitation spells, and acrobatics being a skill, unlike Morrowind, yeah, like it's still not great. All right. So what I'm kind of thinking is like having almost a mini dungeon with a couple of rooms on the way down, and then you can maybe a levitation potion at the bottom to let you skip that on the way back. So something like this. Hope there won't be too much pixel to pixel. Oh no, absolutely, of course not. I don't think there are any required jumps in our dungeons. There's a couple of like balance beam sections and caves. Those were a thing in the original Morrowind. And there's definitely a lot of parkour optional with levitation, but none of it's required. I love Deus Ex for this. The levels felt realistic, but were still fun to play. Oh, I mean, yeah, that's a great example. I mean, the original Morrowind is a good example for its city design, but in terms of like, what is a game that has good dungeon design? Half-Life 2. I mean, it's the second time I'm mentioning Half-Life, but Half-Life 2 is a good example, not 1. Is a good example of an area that felt legitimately lived in, but was still fun to play. I mean, I could look at my Steam library right now, and the first thing that I see is Baldur's Gate, which definitely was good in that regard. Yeah. Okay. So let's have another zoom out and have a bit of a moment of reflection on this. Okay. This is kind of the whole dungeon, to be honest. I think this is a good dungeon map. And keep in mind, each one of these rooms is going to take like 5 hours to make. So, it's a lot more than it looks like. All right, this is our Malakath statue. He looks like that. And then he's going to be on like a platform, and there's going to be probably a cursed gem. Let's make it like angry because there's a cursed diamond there. There you go, perfect. I'm going to save this. Do you find yourself watching tours of real buildings for inspiration? Occasionally. I would say, to be honest, if I had to pick a primary inspiration for my work, actually, now that I think about it, that might be a harder question to answer than I think, because it's not the original Morrowind. Because as much as I love Morrowind, as much as it's my favorite game ever, I don't think its level design is good. Interior-wise, I think its exterior map design is spectacular, but I think its interior dungeons are just simply not good. But if I had to pick something, I would say Baldur's Gate 1. Is the original Baldur's Gate is definitely a huge piece of inspiration for me. The one from the 90s, not 3. That game absolutely changed the way I thought about dungeon design conceptually. and is huge. Now, I played it around a year. I played it like kind of like 4 months ago, but I initially played the first half of it around 2 years ago, and it was a huge shift to the way I thought about design when I first played it. But yeah, okay. I think I've got my my initial layout done. All right. Neverwinter Nights was cool. That's true as well. That's also a good game. All right. I'm pondering once more. You know what I'm gonna do? I am going to save this in my Skywind folder. I'm gonna label it Assurdirapal concept. What did it teach you is the star. Yeah, the star is just the statue. It doesn't actually look like that. I'm kind of just... I don't know if you can tell by the fact that this is MS Paint, but I'm kind of joking around I'm kind of joking around by doing this, and I'm making it intentionally look bad and silly, because I think it's a little more fun. What did Baldur's Gate teach me? Symbolism, visual symbolism and design, and generally how to balance out combat versus exploration versus puzzle solving. Is a narrow tightrope, and I think that game does it quite well in most areas. Not all, Durlag's Tower, but most areas, I think it does it quite well. The game is obviously visually simplistic for the time, but its balance of encounters is extremely well done for what it is. And all of my level design experience in terms of artistic design just came from my time working in the CK. But yeah, okay, I'm looking at this whole area, and let's do a rough count. Let's actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in red a C for combat encounter every time I want to have a combat encounter. So there's a C here, there's a C here, there is a C in there or there. I haven't decided yet. Probably a combat encounter in at least one of these two routes, and then definitely a combat encounter down here. Now, an issue with having a combat encounter down there is that the enemies can obviously shoot at the player from down there, which is a little rough. Or, the obviously worse option is the enemies can be sniped from above, which is an issue, but I can probably fix that by just placing them in odd areas. Maybe instead of having a combat encounter in there, I have a combat encounter in a lot of these areas and none in there. So maybe, let me add a question mark here. So, 1, 2, 3, then maybe 5. So 5 total combat encounters, maybe, approximately, depends on where I put them. I think that's fine. Let me see what we wrote. I actually like the original Morrowind dungeons for their simplicity. I get that. I can see why. However, I just think that more detailed dungeons are more interesting. I believe that if you can add depth while making it interesting, I think that's a good thing, and I think that's a kind of general philosophy we have as a team in terms of our level design. There's a lot of dungeons that are these, like, 20-minute long epics compared to the original 5-minute dungeons of Morrowind, and while those are neat, I generally really like the direction our team has gone, and it's something I personally like doing. Maybe an enemy spawns behind the player as they leave the rest room. Maybe a Daedroth. Yeah, I don't know. Or not a Daedroth, a Golden Saint or something, or whatever Malakoth's guys are. I think Malakoth uses the Ogrums. But yeah, this is a. Let's actually check that real quick. I'm going to look at our Daedric level design guide. Which is something I made, which is kind of funny, because I'm looking at something I did, but this guide is, like, how old? Oh, 3 years ago! Oh my god. Okay. Oh, what, man, okay, I'm looking at it. Let me have a peek. When did I have to mark this down. One moment. Quick lore check. Yep, elementals are fine anywhere. Clan Fears are Maroon's Dagon. Daedroths are Molag Bal. Dramoras are Maroon's Dagon. Golden Saints are Sheogorath. Hungers are Boethia. Ogrims are Malakoth. Yes, I was correct. Winged Twilights are... Okay. So Ogrims, primarily probably Ogrims and Atronachs are what we're going with. Alright. Okay. One moment. Continuing looking over this list. All right. Lesser Daedric can go anywhere. That's true. That's true. I mean, they can't. Okay. Also, hi, Argyle. Yes, I am aware that we can do anything. However, you know me. I'm gonna stick to my. I'm sticking to my list. I know, but I don't like doing that. I enjoy being precise. The original dungeon had how many people in it? Let's see. How many guys? Four. Okay, only 4. I can make a combat encounter out of that. I can make, like, I can put 2 of them at the start and then 2 of them at the end. Yeah, that's fine. Argyle, is your headache cleared up? Are you feeling better? All right. Well, are you feeling? I'm asking a question. I hope you're feeling better. How do you think Skywind's dungeon compare to Skyrim's size, puzzles, uniqueness? I think they're better. I think they're significantly better. I believe that Skyrim's dungeons... I think Skyrim's puzzles are as much as I love Skyrim, I think Skyrim has bad puzzles. Look at the claw. It has the symbols on it. Look at the... Spin the thing. I don't like it. Alright, well, hopefully... I mean, I don't know how much longer I'll be on. I might only be on for, like, a little bit more. As I am... After all this creative output, I'm running a little low on Steam, to be honest. I've already been going for an hour and a half. I was planning on originally on streaming 3 hours, but I don't think I'll go too long. What I'm gonna do, let me rearrange my stream layout for a moment. What did I do? Put this there. Put that there. There are some, I mean, yes, there are, but they repeat themselves a little bit too much for my taste. Not to say Skyrim's a bad game. I do like it. But it's got some rough. Okay. Rough edges. So on the bottom left, we've got my stuff. On the right, we've got the original design. And in the middle, we have the actual game. What it looks like. You can see there's some hallways here. I'm just gonna start, I think. Over here. Let's or you know what? Let me set sign to 0, 0. Let's start at 0, 0, 0. Ooh, where did it go? I don't know where I just put that thing. I was hoping the origin would be a little closer. How far away is the origin? I just teleported sign into the abyss. Okay. There we go. Alright, so looking back at my notes, some sort of descent, probably 2 is fine. Let me visually look in here. We'll go with 3. 2 feels a little too light for the descent vibe I want. Then we want our big room. Archie in Daedric. This is real rough outline, I should specify. Like, as you can see, this is like bare conceptualizing what this dungeon could look like, right? room wall door. Okay. Let's try 5x5. Well, didn't I say 6x6? How's that gonna even look? 5x6, maybe? I remember I had this discussion earlier. I was thinking about, like, how do I want to make this area look? And I was befuddled. There we go. Oh, we definitely have got... Oh, is the whole Daedric set modeled and textured? Yes, it is. I mean, obviously everything is subject to change. You know, we could suddenly change our mind about something, but to my knowledge, the Daedric set is completely done. Or someone in chat on the team correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been using it for years, so. Although, to be fair, we were missing quite a bit of clutter when it first came out. You know, I'm looking at this room size, and I said 5x6 in my head, and now I'm looking at it in the game, and this is way bigger than I was visualizing it. One tile might actually be enough. Or I can use fringe pieces. That might work better. Okay, we'll stick with 5x5. We're not going 6 by anything. Okay. Including these corner pieces as part of the 5x whatever, when I say that. Okay. Door at the other opposite end. It looks like it snaps together easy. A little bit. The Daedric set is one of the more cumbersome sets to work with. I'll put it lightly. It's fine. I mean, obviously it looks fine now, but once you look at, look at the ceiling. What is this? What are these assets? And if you want to do anything with verticality, it gets a little bit odd at times. You can do, like, you have a lot of vertical height. When I say verticality, I mean, this is a tall room. You can do a lot with it. But if you want to make something taller than this room, it's a little strange. Takes a while. Oh, this should be an end cap. Hall... Where is it? Hall end cap. Hall end cap 01. Here we go. All right. Floor 01. I can finally use the actual floor asset. I haven't been using this in a while because my last dungeon was all cave. There was no floor. The floor had been washed away with the sands of time. Okay. Put this over here. I might end up completely scrapping this. Who knows? It really just depends on how I feel about the pit in the floor and if it gives off the same pit energy that I'm hoping it will. I'm a bit of a pit guy. There's some sort of pun there I could make, but it's eluding me. Copy all these. You know, there's something calming about initially starting a dungeon. And by initial, I mean like the literal, like, baby steps, first thing you do. In some way, it's a little bit intimidating. Like, you have this huge empty canvas that you're just staring at, going like, you know, anything I put here, I can put anything here. I have all this room. But it's also peaceful, because the floor plan setup is the one that requires the least micro movements, like, and, you know, the least precision, kind of. You know, you're just putting the floor plan down, pretty basic. And at this point, anything can change. You don't need to really worry about making too many mistakes. Yeah, Argyle, if you're still available, we need to have you. I'll probably be on for like another 30-ish minutes. I've been on talking to myself for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else who does any form of art, whether that be painting or anything, has a similar experience of believing that it's very peaceful when you first start working on anything. Okay. Now I'm looking at this, and I think all of you might be noticing something. That is a tiny hole. Too tiny. This hole is too small. This is not big enough. I need bigger holes. That is too small. I'm trying to imagine this being the whole arena. Look at how big this room is. Look at how huge it is. That's the arena. But you see what I meant about, like, this is the minimum piece I can take away. Unless I can... Oh, Argyle, are you in? Did you join the chat? Why can't I hear you?
I haven't spoken yet.
Never mind. You know why I asked that? It's because the last time Dal joined and I couldn't hear her because her mic wasn't working. And my headphones.
I didn't want to interrupt you talking about your holes.
My holes? Yeah, that's very professional. How are you feeling, Argyle?
I'm good. Just been a lot of rain and weather, so my allergies and perhaps possible dehydration gave me a little bit of an ouchy head.
Well, I hope you're better now.
Every moment is a new horizon for sure.
Oh dear.
Can everyone hear me? Okay,
yeah,
is it coming through clearly?
Is everyone?
Am I
yeah,
balanced?
people in chat able to hear it? I can turn them up or down if need be. Just let me know. Have you been tuned in the entire time, Argyle?
No. I've been around back and forth.
All right. What you can see on the stream, yeah, everyone says you're good. You can see
Wonderful.
in the stream in the bottom left the MS Paint drawing that I ended up producing.
Oh yes, I know it well.
Yeah. As I said, I'm a professional concept artist. This is what I do. I do draw concepts. Okay.
No, you deserve the role. You've earned it.
Give myself the 2D role on the Discord.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, and I don't know how many of you are regular watchers or not. Hi, I'm Argyle. I'm a writer and voice actor for Skywind. It's a pleasure to be here.
Argyle's
if you can
cool.
believe that from my tone.
We're Argyle fans here. All right, let's. Ugh, look at this. This is so annoying. Look, the fringe pieces don't line up. I mean, maybe I just have them in the wrong corner. Let me try that. Is it just that I have it in the wrong corner? It was that I just had it in the wrong corner. Okay, well. These things are a little bit hard to get a handle on.
I do not voice Argonians. That'd be cool, though. I voice Dunmer characters and orcs at the moment.
I forgot that you voiced orcs. Is that what? I don't even remember what our orcs sound like. Is that as hard on the throat as Dunmer is?
It shouldn't be, but I would say it is. I think Dunmer is actually much less strain than my orc voice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I really I'm kind of like always shouting as an orc almost. And I mean the difficulty of doing the dark elf rasp I think is greatly exaggerated. It's just kind of weird. Like it's unnatural to do, but as for like physical strain, it's not nearly as difficult as it sounds.
Well, I couldn't do it, so that's why I voice a Bosmer instead. I could.
Oh, you could do it.
I tried.
We could coach you.
No, Mithril coached me for like 2 weeks, and I couldn't figure it out. Like
well, maybe I'm just the missing piece, and between me and Mithril, we can make the impossible possible.
Make a man out of you, but Dunmer edition.
Yeah, but make a Dunmer out of you.
Yeah. Look at this piece. What is up with it? Why does it do this? I can't. Why would this? Is it just the wrong fringe? It's labeled north. It's clearly the. Maybe they're mislabeled. They are mislabeled. Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me.
Oof.
I almost never use these fringe pieces like this. See how they, like, perfectly fit here? I almost never use them like this. I normally use them, like, as sticking out of the ground as pieces of rubble or something. You can kind of see what I'm doing is to use this to make a larger hole. I think this is a much better size. It has the unfortunate byproduct of not looking intentionally made, which I kind of wanted it to look intentionally made. But this is an example of...
Well, it looks like it was intentional just after the original construction.
That's kind of what I meant. I more meant intentionally made as part of the original construction. But, you know, whatever. Okay, here we go.
I don't know. It's kind of a cool vibe. I'm with it.
Well, that's what matters. If other people like it, you know. All right. That's our room. I think this is a good room. We've got a good room. Someone said in chat, you're going to spoil us if you keep streaming this often. I will not be able to continue streaming this often. I am on winter break from university at the moment, and as I'm on winter break, I've had a lot more time to work on Skywind, but I'll probably become a lot more busy come January 20th. But, you know, I'll try to be up occasionally, do a little bit of candle placing. Okay, so... in my starting diagram, I think I drew some offshoot rooms here. Did I? Yes, I did. I had the bathing area and the two offshoots. Argyle, what were your thoughts on me having like trophy rooms with plaques of like next to skulls and stuff? That was something that was discussed earlier. I don't know. If
that's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any other information you want me to consider, you will have to tell me.
You think that fits? You think
that's my introduction to the concept.
You think that gives off Malakoth vibes?
Yeah, no, I mean that's like something I think is reasonably Malakothy to do.
I was just thinking because I was trying to come up with like a gimmick for this dungeon, and I was like, oh, I can add like I can add little notes next to body parts on pedestals to be like, this is Argon the Great, who I stabbed to death with a rock, or something. Someone said in chat, who lights the candles? The Bone Walkers in tombs. The Bone Walkers in the tombs, they light them. They do that. Okay. I am continuing to ponder as I try and figure out how to make this look good. I ended up doing a lot more Daedric Ruins than I thought I'd do. I initially claimed only a couple. Magas Volar, which is like an insane exception, so that barely even counts. All Daedroth and Ebernonet, I think, were my only two. And then I grabbed a few. I've been grabbing more because these, if you go to our Trello page, every single Velothi tower has been claimed. Every ship has been claimed. Every camp has been claimed. Like, everything's been claimed for, like, a million things, right? There's a couple of caves, but I'm not a masochist. The only, like, interior dungeons that are currently available for claim yet have not been are 3 Daedric Ruins. Which, actually, I have to move this to my column. It's not there. Let me move this to mine, so no one else starts it. I might end up doing all 3 of these. There were 4 there a couple months ago, and I grabbed Corridor kind of on a whim. Okay, actually, I'm going to also add this to my little note sheet that I have, where I keep track of all the dungeons I do. Assur...
For Mixed Smitty, I wasn't ignoring you. I was actually looking for my orc script, so I didn't have to improv a line. I try not to get too big on the voice acting thing, especially because Dal makes fun of me for being a voice actor who does voices for people. But, generally, where is this?
Doing voices is a thing you're supposed to do. That's the whole...
Oh, I know, but I try not to make the streams and stuff into, like, the Argyle needs attention show.
I think it's fine.
But, The one I picked was for there's a vampire in Nisus called Lord Irarok, and people don't like him.
Oh, that guy.
What a moron! I've heard he's got himself holed up in the Guinness ancestral tomb. Has all his little followers waiting on him hand and foot. Pathetic.
That's just a cold read, so don't make fun of me too hard in chat. I'm a volunteer.
I was kind of gonna make
professional.
fun of
I
you
love
actually and say it sounds. What does it sound like? I feel like I know someone in real life who sounds like that a little bit. Who am I thinking of? It's like
That's kind of I don't know how to respond to that.
I feel like
I
it's
guess
like,
that's interesting as a safe
like
answer.
an old Southern guy. And I feel like I've met someone at a family gathering who talked to me like that. I feel like this guy's gonna tell me to get off.
Yeah,
his lawn.
the accent did come out unintentionally Southern.
That's
I just
what-
kind of
yeah.
kept it, but
I've
it
got some
was
family
it
in
was a funny
Texas.
development.
Yeah.
But the main thing that for when we're casting orcs is all of the sibilants, like Arthur Morgan. That's not true. But all the S letters are pronounced as if they were SH. So instead of, you won't hear any, you only hear sh from orcs because they have big teeth. That's the idea anyway there.
I should be using the half rooms, definitely. These should be. Yeah, this bathhouse should not be as tall as the arena. Daedric set's freaking tall, man. Argyle, remind me, did you get onto the team as a Dunmer voice actor or an Orc one? Which one did you do first?
I voiced Lalu Guards first.
Oh
as Dunmer.
yeah. Oh yeah. I remember we had a discussion about this because I'm the one who added that role to the Trello, like the second guard role to the Trello. I remember talking to you about that at one point.
I kind of remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I think I do now that you bring it up.
It was it's because I was the one who made the decision that we should double all of our guard voice acting, because I didn't want us to have all of the guards sound like the exact same person like they do in Skyrim.
Yeah.
So I added just like I duplicated every card for the guards, which I'm shocked got approval. Like that was a decision I kind of made on my own, and then like asked people about, and everyone was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." I'm shocked that they said that.
For jesters, I don't use any kind of prosthetics. I don't think that's super helpful. I think it's just distracting for when you're in the or when you're in the booth and recording everything. For my physicality, I've had to reconstruct it because I kind of made it up instinctually, I guess. I didn't like physically make a plan, but I would say the two things I physically do is I kind of give myself a little bit of like an underbite, and I also kind of talk out of the right side of my mouth. And generally for the actual shape of my vocal resonance chamber, which is a pretentious way to say my mouth, I tend to kind of talk towards the back of my throat.
My voice acting experience on this team is that I had told everyone, "Hey guys, I want to do a Bosmer," and then they were like, "No, we're out of Bosmers." Also, yeah, we're out of Bosmers, and I was like, okay. And then at the like one of our Bosmer voice actors like didn't finish all their lines, and then Mithril sent me a DM about it, and because I was already on the team, they were just like, "Yeah, whatever, have the role," and that's how I got my Bosmer lines. I'm glad to have them. It was fun to do.
I think you did a good job.
I tried to be as Fargoth as possible. I'm definitely a lot more high-pitched than the other ones, but that's because I feel like I was definitely trying to replicate the Morrowind Wood Elf a lot more than I was trying to replicate any future incarnation. They really toned down that nasaliness in the
They toned down a lot of stuff to my dismay.
like the Dunmer growl.
Yeah, I'm bummed to see that go. And now it does crack me up that they're all like whatever accent they use in Skyrim, where it's like I don't want to say Cockney. My knowledge of British dialects is not what it used to be, but that very kind of like rough British sound. I don't know. I think it's such a weird choice, but it works, I guess.
I mean, it kind of works, but I feel like the growl just like is so iconic to Morrowind.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
I'm super happy we're keeping it.
Yeah, because I mean, they all had like that almost like fairy kind of voice in Oblivion. Like all the elves just were like, "Oh yes, hello.
Oh, you're definitely
What can I do for you, traveler?"
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like overwhelming.
They all, yeah, it's... yeah, that's definitely a good way of describing Oblivion's voice acting. I feel like that's a good way of describing Oblivion as a whole, though. I feel like Oblivion, more than any other game in the Elder Scrolls series, is attempting to, replicate, I don't know, Lord of the Rings? Like, or like...
I see what you mean,
the average,
I think I agree.
The average Dungeons & Dragons campaign is like another way of phrasing what I just said. It's definitely the most generic fantasy of the series, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I personally prefer how unique Morrowind is, and even Skyrim's more unique setting, to the more standard setting of Oblivion. It's definitely my gripe with the game. But it's fine, but I don't know. It definitely always feels a little off.
To put it politely, I have never finished Oblivion. It's not my game. I've done Skyrim, I've done Morrowind, but Oblivion was, I don't know, it never clicked for me.
Fair enough. Also, someone said, do you think they'll be able to recognize who I am? I mean, I hope so. I voiced like 7 people, so you'll have a couple of chances. I can tell, but I think that's kind of obvious.
If you listen to Newton enough, you can tell.
Yeah. I do happen to talk a lot. It's kind of my shtick. All right. This is how I'm thinking of doing these rooms. No end cap, just a free wall. These are those armory rooms. These Nook assets are going to be used a lot. This is going to be one of those iconic Newton moments where I spam the exact same asset 38 times. Well, okay, I actually want to see. Where has this been used the most? Okay. Deep breath. Asal Kushalit. Asal Kushalit Shrine. It's been used 43 times. I'm looking at this dungeon. How many Nooks did you make? Oh, it's this dungeon. Oh, yeah, it's this one. Okay, this is actually, I think this was one of Smurf's when they were still on the team.
Oh, I miss Daddy Smurf.
I know, he was really good with fog effects. I would say that was like his specialty, is he made fog effects look really pretty. He also had 2 dungeons that were done nearly identically to each other, this dungeon and one of the tombs, that have like the exact same vibe, where one of them is a Daedric ruin and the other is an ancestral tomb. And I think it's so cool that he made 2 unique dungeons using the same gimmick. Also, look at this! I mean, I think this is his. It's gonna be very funny if this is like UCM's work or something and I'm misaccrediting it, so I guess apologies if I'm doing that. But I think this is his. Also, look at this rope ladder. Dude, that's sick. How'd they do that? I mean, I know exactly how they do that. It just would be difficult. That's impressive. Okay, I can see how the Nook asset was used 50 times. The dungeon isn't giant. It's just only hallways with no rooms. That's cool.
Yeah, you get a lot of interesting variations on a theme in Skywind, in my opinion. I mean, that's kind of a misuse of that term, but you definitely see a lot of really surprising asset use with how many dungeons there are and how much time we've had to cook.
Let them cook. I agree with you. I mean, if thinking about my own stuff, I think the best example is all Daedroth, is where I really tried to go crazy with asset usage. Wait, what am I talking about? Serrano. It's like some super unique stuff. But I think generally that's kind of what I was getting at when we was talking about like our level design being more unique than Morrowind's, where we try and make each dungeon have like a gimmick. It's kind of interesting. Argo, I was talking to a friend about this just the other day. But it's I was wondering, like, I wonder how well CK skills would transfer to other game design engines. You know what I mean?
Because, I know what you mean. I have no answer for you.
I know. I don't expect you to. I'm more just, like, kind of curious about that, because, like, the type of level design that you do for Skywind, where it's like you're dragging in pre-finished assets to kind of stitch stuff together, that's not how most games are made. Like, most games are made with, like, 3D models are made on, like, everything is a hero piece, you know what I mean? Like, not at least the clutter, but, like, for the floor plan and stuff, everything is a hero piece, right? And
I have no idea.
Normally they have I just think it's kind of interesting. I was looking into how TF2 maps are made, and I just thought it was a unique process.
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean, I know what all those things are. It's more so of just I don't know who uses tile sets, or I forget what they're called, level kits, versus how many hero pieces. I know we have team members who make mods on other games. Like I'm pretty sure there's someone who makes stuff on Source 2 for Half-Life Alyx, so okay. Maybe they could.
I mean, part of the reason I ask is I was talking. Another thing I was talking to actually, I think Dal about this a while ago. That I was thinking, after Skywind is done, I want to frickin' make my own game. Like, I'm not sure, but it's something I've been thinking about, because I think it might be worthwhile. Although obviously that's a huge time commitment.
After Skywind is done, I am retiring and moving to an island where no one will ever hear from me again.
And then what are you gonna do once you're on the island?
I'm gonna survive. I'm gonna tell anyone who sails by that I participated in Skywind, and hope that goes well for me.
That sounds like a good plan. But yeah, I've always been curious what people are gonna do once the project's over, in terms of if anyone's gonna continue doing game design or not. I might. I know we've had a couple people.
I mean,
you go first.
Oh, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, every Elder Scrolls game is so different. I mean, like, there's no safe bet that just because someone is a fan of one of the series entries that they're a fan of the other one. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been like a long-term thing that Bethesda kind of like shifts their audience a lot. Like every new game that they make.
Daggerfall.
Like the people who like Morrowind were like, oh no, Oblivion is such like a letdown, and then the people who played Oblivion are like, oh no, Skyrim is such a letdown, and it's just like, I don't know, it's a funny cycle. I'm sure there are people who like both and can play all 5 of them, even maybe just 4 or 3, but yeah, I don't know. It's surprising how little being an Elder Scrolls game actually would transfer over to people being passionate about remaking something like Daggerfall.
I mean,
it's just such a different game than Morrowind.
No, I definitely get what you mean. I agree, and I definitely think more like, it's good to note that like people who liked Morrowind might really dislike Oblivion, and people who liked Oblivion might dislike Skyrim. The game's definitely shifted around a lot. It makes me wonder what Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be. But I don't know. Also, somebody said in chat, little off topic, but do you take into account the local map when doing level design? I hate the local map so much. So to let you guys know, the local map in Morrowind is just a screenshot of the game with color, while the local map in Skyrim is more of like wireframey, and just the way it is, where it's black and white. Oh my god, so annoying. Like, remember how earlier Argyle said that we have a lot of clever tile set use? What will often happen is if we have a tile piece that like goes outwards, the tile, like you can see it from the outside, and it's so annoying. I know there are ways to fix it. You can hide stuff from the local map, and alongside that, you can also add black planes like they did in Skyrim. We will do that eventually. Most level designers don't do that, but I have talked to people on the team, and I've heard that that's generally a final pass thing. Once the game is done, we can go back to dungeons and do it. It's pretty low priority, but, you know, eventually we'll get around to making it and fixing that up. You know, part of the QA process, kind of.
Are local maps, like, are they well suited for verticality?
No.
Like, if there are multiple floors to a dungeon?
They're terrible for it.
Yeah, that's what I would have assumed.
Local maps are not designed for Skywind. They barely work in Skyrim. Did you ever check your local map, ever, in Skyrim?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
I was hoping you'd say
The last
no.
time I really played Skyrim was, like, definitely, like, 4 years ago. Like, being generous.
Oh, I have not played Skyrim in significantly longer, just because well, now I can't, because my Skyrim install is completely destroyed with Skywind stuff. I don't know if I'll ever replay Skyrim, and if I do, it will be in like 10 years, you know, once Skywind's out, and I've already moved on from that. Once my install's a little fixed. Would you be...
Also, for someone was talking about doing other regions.
That's what I was about to reply to as well, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean, I think people kind of, like, assume that that's easier than it might actually be. And I mean, I could just be reading too much into what people say. But I mean, that's a question we get fairly frequently in public questions. Not enough for, like, an FAQ level, like, question, but, like, you know, there's cool stuff like Tamriel Rebuilt that's been going on, you know, if you're in the Morrowind scene, which is just like a legendary mod project that a lot of people on the team love to play. But I mean, I don't think people take into account that, like, Tamriel Rebuilt has been going on since Morrowind released in, like, 2002, and, like, they still haven't finished mainland Morrowind. Like, that's like a monumental task to fill it with that much content and, like, dense, like, amount of activities as you find in Morrowind to make it consistent with vanilla. And I mean, they also are working on, generally speaking, a Morrowind level development, while, you know, it's just a different standard. For us, I mean, even if the stuff they've already done, it would be pretty much like a faux pas, in my opinion, to just copy what they did and, like, redo it in Skywind. But also, like, we just have other resource constraints that they don't have. Probably the biggest example would be voice acting. Like, they don't have to get a bunch of voice acting for every single NPC, which is a huge liberator. For a game like Skywind, it's just necessary to have voice acting. Pop-up text just wouldn't be the same. But, you know, getting new 3D assets that are consistent with the fidelity that we're using in Skywind versus in Test 3, like, it's a huge undertaking to do, and also it's a niche interest for sure. Because I mean, remaking Morrowind is for people who, you know, really like Morrowind or otherwise are familiar with it, and they want to kind of get involved in bringing it to a new generation. And making stuff for Tamriel Rebuilt, like, there's a lot of overlap, I think, but at the same time, I feel like the people who want to expand Morrowind versus the people who want to reimagine Morrowind kind of have different motivations, even if it's possible for them to, you know, have that overlap. I just would be surprised logistically if it ever came around that there was a serious undertaking to expand to the mainland in a Tamriel Rebuilt style fashion. Anything's possible. I mean, this mod's been going on for a long time and it's made major strides, but also, I mean, it's taken a huge concentration and effort to get as far as we have. And I mean, I think trying to develop mainland Morrowind with Skywind would just be another impossible Herculean task. I'm open to being surprised, but I guess my thing after working on this project is that people only kind of abstractly know how much work goes into it instead of more concretely knowing. And it's definitely a very, very, very big thing to try to accomplish. So yeah, I guess that's all I want to say is I don't know if people realize how big of a question that is when they're asking it.
I pretty much agree. I think that was very well put. The only thing I'd like to expand a little more on is just like, I definitely agree that it would be very. I don't think it almost would feel immoral to remake if after Skywind was released and everything's done, the project's fully complete, to start working on the Morrowind mainland. It would, given that there's already a team doing that, like you did, that's something you brought up that I absolutely agree with. Yes, it would be cool to snap our fingers and instantly convert all of the Tamriel rebuilt work into Skywind, but it's just it's unfathomable amount of work. But also, it's kind of their work. You know what I mean? Stepping on their toes a little bit. I don't know anyone personally who works on Tamriel rebuilt. I think it's an amazing project. And I wish them the best. I wanted I even though I haven't played Morrowind in a couple years, I think it's an excellent project, and I mentioned I don't plan on replaying Skyrim. I definitely plan on replaying Tamriel Rebuilt. I don't know. It's kind of their project to make.
Sorry. I just wanted to say that if you're an Elder Scrolls fan and you haven't played Tamriel Rebuilt, like what are you doing? Go play Tamriel Rebuilt. It's so cool.
It's great.
I mean, yeah, those people put so much work into that project. We have at least one team member on both teams. I don't know if it's more, but I know there's at least one. But I mean, they work so hard and do such good work. I mean, you should definitely give them the time of day to see what they've cooked up. It's really like Morrowind never stopped being in development, in my opinion. It's fantastic.
I agree.
Yeah, Tamriel Rebuilt is extremely playable.
Oh yeah, very.
They release it in regions and chunks with quests and stuff. There's plenty of content to play. The full mainland isn't done, but I mean, just look it up. There's a lot to do. There's not a shortage of content. It's very playable.
Yeah, I definitely. Kind of a side tangent that popped in my mind because we're talking about fan projects. I remember one of the best parts of Tamriel Rebuilt is that it got my favorite extremely small YouTuber to replay Morrowind. There's this one guy I watched who did a 100 max difficulty playthrough of Morrowind, and I loved watching it, and then it ended, and then he started it again because to play it with Tamriel Rebuilt on, which was a blast to watch. And it made me start thinking, like, man, I wonder how many people are gonna Let's Play Skywind. Which is obviously an impossible question to answer until release. But I don't know, it's on my mind. I am curious how much internet presence it will have in terms of people making content / videos on it. 7-hour a brief Skywind retrospective video when? I don't know if that's something you care at all about, Argyle. I don't know if you watch a lot of gaming content on YouTube and stuff. But, I don't know, it's something
I watch enough. I mean, that reference specifically, I definitely watch Patrician TV when he uploads videos. I watch them over the span of a couple days. I think he's pretty interesting and pretty insightful.
I was personally the YouTuber, in case anyone's curious, the YouTuber that I was thinking of is Lylol Schnub. If anyone recognizes that name in chat, let's go. Extremely small. He's got like a couple thousand subscribers, I think. But he's been making Morrowind content. He's been making gaming content for like, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years? Good stuff. I mean, I hope we have, as going with Sketchbook just said in chat, I hope we have a lot of people playing it. But at the end of the day, even if nobody made videos on it, or even if only 100 people played it, I hope they enjoy it, Like, I had fun making it. I think you can tell when a game's devs had fun creating it, and I am definitely having fun making Skywind. I love putting time into it. Someone does know who Lylol Schnub is? You are literally the first person Jester, you're the first person I have ever acknowledged this person's existence to, and they have known who they are. I find that very funny. Okay. I don't know if you noticed, how much you're looking at the stream itself, Argyle, but you might notice I have used the exact same room shape twice in a row.
I did notice.
So that's what it was in the MS Paint drawing. I'm having mixed emotions right now.
These rooms are just
So
so big. I know it's the tile set, but like,
nothing
oh
I can
my
do.
god,
There's nothing
they're
I can do about it.
cavernous.
There's nothing I can do. You remember the antechamber in Old Daedroth?
No.
I'm gonna show it off to chat.
Actually,
I know you
spoke too soon. I do know.
Okay, I'm still gonna show it just because I think chat should see it. This is the largest room I think I've ever made. It is gargantuan. Serrano doesn't count. Serrano is probably less volume. This room, it's really big. This tile set is just so easy to go huge with, and so hard to go small with. I like the Daedric set visually, but it is unpleasant to work with at times. Okay. I think it's fine. I'm probably getting too caught up on the fact that these rooms are the same shape. They serve completely different purposes and will look visually different. I'm thinking about it. They're just so big. Everything is so big. This is 2 tiles wide and it feels like it's the Great Wall of China. It's actually probably bigger than the Great Wall of China. Isn't the Great Wall of China only 15 feet wide? It's like, not a... Oh, man. You know, like 2 hours ago, somebody said, like, do you know your limitations? And I was like, yeah,
No,
I'm familiar with the tile set. And maybe I wasn't as familiar as I thought. I guess I just didn't imagine them being this huge. Look at this space.
Don't believe Newton. He's an addict.
What am I addicted to? Candles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does not know the meaning of the word limit.
Okay, what's next? The stairwell. Okay. So none of that. I've kind of been on a roll. I was not expecting to get... I'm just doing, like, really basic floor plan stuff, so I'm not, like, using my brain too much right now. Because that was all the planning. But, I am, this is a straight line and a half of a dungeon. Look at this. It just keeps going. Okay, I'm gonna need to add some curves. Or I could change it. Let's have a, like, retrospective look at this.
Is there a spray bottle emote on Twitch?
There should be a million.
Can't find it.
Someone
asked if there were dragon skeletons, and I was gonna spray them.
Where's the famous Morrowind dragon? Where's the dragon? Where's the dragon in Morrowind, Argyle? Where is it going? Where is it?
Nowhere.
The dragon?
No.
The dragon that was in Morrowind? The dragon? Okay. A T-shaped room. Do we even have a 4-way room? A 4-way hallway? I don't even think we do. I don't think we have a 4-way hallway piece for the Daedric set. I might need to go get dinner sometime soon, because I have not eaten, like, all day.
Uh-oh.
I know. It would be a tragedy. I'll have to take a break from design. Terrifying.
Don't be like Zix. Eat food.
How long does Zix do long streams?
Yes. Sometimes we have to tell Zix to eat.
He makes good tile sets.
Yes, he does.
I had similar issues with the dormer set in Skyrim. The rooms were huge and it was really hard to fill them. Yeah. Oh, and the room with 4 holes. Maybe it shouldn't be this big. I mean, I don't know what to do. I will... it will look a lot less... I mean, here's the thing. These rooms look significantly bigger before you put any clutter into them. And the moment I start filling it with clutter, it's going to look a lot more filled. I think it's fine. I can roughly visualize how the clutter will look. But, like, I wish I could, like, half cut this floor. You know what I mean? Like, push it, like, here. But you can't really do that. I mean, look at how giant one wall piece is, right? It's huge.
This is totally tangential, but when I was playing Skyrim, Skyrim was my first Elder Scrolls game, which hopefully does not put a black mark on me for everybody watching. But I really thought the Dwemer were a super cool concept. I learned later that it's basically because Morrowind did all the heavy lifting to make it cool. But I really liked Markarth, and I remember that's where my player home was, and my in-game wife, who was the stupid claw lady from is it Riverwood? Is that what the town is named?
I think it might be.
With the golden claw. I married her for some reason, and she would always talk about the golden claw, but after the Hearthfire DLC, I was super annoyed because I thought living in a Dwemer house was super cool, but she kept complaining that it was like unsafe for like the adopted children and they were going to get like mugged. It was a letdown for me, but that's what I get for not really paying attention to what's happening in Markarth. I just thought it looked awesome. So it was a bummer that all that I came home to was complaining about me overlooking reasonable dangers for starting a family.
Somebody asked if I can move the floor in by a little bit. No, I cannot do that. The tile set, it's hard to describe, but I will get seams. Look at, you can kind of see the shape of these walls, that you cannot be creative with these walls. These are anti-creativity walls. This shape, that is an anti-creativity shape right there that we're looking at. So complex. So hard to mess with. I miss the Velothi set. I haven't made it, you know how long it's been since I made a tomb? When was the last tomb I made? Dralas? That was 2021. Alright. I have been live for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I think I need to go have dinner. So I actually think I might be ending the stream. I've made some good progress. Let me go back into OBS and size up this real quick and zoom out. So overall, I am pretty content with how this has turned out. I think this has been a pretty productive 2.5 hours. I picked which dungeon I wanted to do, which I hadn't decided before coming, and now I have completely mapped out the approximate layout of the dungeon, what I want to do. I've thought over where I want to place the combat encounters. I've thought over what approximately the rooms are going to serve in terms of their purpose. I've thought over the general flow of the dungeon, 5-room dungeon stuff I talked about earlier, a couple of unique shapes ideas for the stair rooms and stuff, and so all that's prepared, and then I have started the bare minimum layout in the creation kit, and hopefully I can work on that a bit on my own time. Who knows, maybe I'll do another stream sometime soon. But I have begun the creation kit layout, and hopefully setting that up is not too time consuming. Hopefully. So, for those who've stuck around for the whole 2 hours, thank you very much. Galadan, I had placed a total of 0 candles today, but I did a lot of MS Paint drawing. But yeah, thanks everyone who stuck around. This was a fun time. I'm glad I got this done. I hope you enjoyed my rambles as I stuck together this MS Paint drawing, and I hope its low quality is entertaining. All right. I'm gonna place one candle in the background. You won't even be able to see it. It's hidden behind the MS Paint. And there it is. Fantastic. All right, everybody. I'm gonna be ending, but I wish you all a good rest of your evening, and have a pleasant day. Farewell.
Take care, y'all.